Really? You're very short and you have more hair.
Who knows what Scott Sigler looks like?
Okay.
There you go. Like 4 people know I'm not him.
Well, it was the accent that gave it away.
I can't curse, can I?
Does Scott have an accent?
Can I do some light cursing? No.
No, don't get me in trouble.
Damn.
Okay, that's a no. We'll take that one.
I was thinking something worse. You know,
I
you
always
held me
say
back.
Oh Lord,
Mm.
I've gotten Discord notices from the track co-chair. Okay, good. It wasn't telling me I was fired because that would have been imperfect. So welcome. I can't even remember where I'm at. I could read this, but I need an 18-year-old to see this print. When is it good enough? Don't let perfection stop you from creating. So let's just ask, how many of us in this room are perfectionists? Good. We found our people. I'm confused. I'm very confused, but we're going to have a good time. And so I guess our first thing is everybody needs to introduce themselves. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how perfectionist are you? So Channing, you're the one I know, so you get to go first.
I thought you were about to go in the song though.
No, I don't sing. You don't want me to, sir.
Hi everybody, I'm Channing Sherman. If you follow me on Facebook, I'm the infamous C.S. Sherman. I'm one of the creators of the Black Geek to Dragon Con, but I've also worked in the digital media space for about 20 years now. I started when I was 12. I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a solid 8. If it's just something for me, I'm not that much of a perfectionist. If I'm doing something with other people that I know is going to impact other people, I'm like a 15. So yeah, it gets there.
Yeah, Wade, you're next. I'm sorry, I've got fan issues.
Okay, I wanted
Eat the
that
microphone.
intro to be perfect, and I've ruined it already. So see, there you go. My name is Wade Acuff. I'm an artist and illustrator. I have a show called Roller Troll, which is a dice rolling game with drawing. And on a scale of from 1 to 10, perfectionism, I think I used to be closer to a 10. I'm roughly about an 8. But I feel you when working with other people or people expecting things from you, that's when it gets worse.
I agree.
My name is Clint McElroy. I work with my sons on a podcast called The Adventure Zone. We have written some graphic novels, adapting it, and we basically just do that, and people give us money for it.
You're living the dream.
And I think I'm a little, unless you pick one person to be the opposing voice, because I'm probably a 1.6 on the perfectionist scale. So if you want me to leave now, it's okay.
No, we need to learn your ways.
See, that's perfect for the channel. So
Yeah.
And hang on, you get paid for this? You get paid for your stuff?
Oh no, what?
Not for this, but your
This is
podcast.
my pro bono job.
It's your turn.
Hi, my name's Anthony, and I'm a perfectionist. Thank you. So I'm the executive producer and one of the 4 cast members of Watchers in the Fourth Dimension, which is a Doctor Who podcast where we are watching our way through the entire show from start to finish. And by start, I mean 1963, not 2005. We're currently in the 5th Doctor era. 2 of us have seen it all before, 2 haven't. And yeah, I'm probably a 9 to 9.5. It drives my cast members insane. See, Shane right here is going more. Yeah, I'm probably a 10. I'm an absolute perfectionist, and we'll go into that later.
Yes, and I want you to meet Clint because you need to school him
We should
on how not to be so.
do a podcast together so we can balance each other out.
That would be true.
Yeah, we'd hit a 5 average.
Oh, that's true. Well, the real question is, so my name's Tara Burton. I teach social media and digital marketing at Kennesaw State University. I have a little podcast called Be Awesome Together that for some reason I do with Charles McFall, who's the director of this track, and we haven't killed each other yet because I'm the perfectionist, he's not, and I just have to say, let it go. I'm Elsa. I work with him, so it's good. But today I really want to. I'm sorry, Joe just sent me a text. We need to tell the track directors not to send me a text. while I'm talking, because then I get distracted because I have the ADHD.
I was going to say, welcome to a panel full of neurodivergence.
I know. Hi.
Which
My-
reminds me, I haven't done the Wordle yet.
It's fine. Go ahead. We'll talk. When you're done, you can join the panel again.
No, I think his perfectionism just came out because he has to do it every day, and that's part of keeping a perfect record.
Sure. And doing panels, apparently I'm not a perfectionist.
So what I do want to know, and maybe we'll start with Mr. Perfectionist here and say, what does perfectionism look like in your creative process?
Okay, so from my perspective, the podcast I do is a show. It is a product to be digested. Do I need to speak up? Let me eat the mic.
Yes, eat them up.
So the podcast I do is a show. It is designed to be a product that people consume. That doesn't mean we advertise. We actually make no money. We don't advertise. But the goal is for it to be as fluent and as clear as possible. I can't stand the sound of audible breaths in a podcast. One of my co-hosts, we split the editing between the four of us, is very good at editing them out. The other two are still learning. Well, one's still learning. The other one's just not very good at editing them out. I hope he's not in the... Riley, you here? Nope. Good.
No, but this is being streamed.
Yeah, he's not watching on Twitch. It's fine. So for me, we have a process where we record. We have isolated audio streams so that we can get the best audio quality possible. We then mix those together in Reaper, which I understand this track uses for recording. And then we edit the hell out of it. So one person edits, and then after one person has edited it, someone else QAs it. And then as a third listen, if I was not the original editor or the QA, I also listen and then tweak it. Because anything that doesn't fit in how I want it to be drives me insane. I'm a perfectionist. It's awful. It eats up so much of my time. And only one of my co-hosts is good enough for me to not actually have to rework her stuff. And I'm going to say, a third one is still learning and she is getting there.
I'm frightened. Okay.
That is a very high compliment. You made it sound like a third one is learning and she's getting there.
Yeah.
I am. So
Oh.
how does it enter your creative process except for Wordle?
Dude, look, man, you just gotta lighten up, man.
Thank
I mean, wow, dude. No,
He's chill. I'm a nightmare.
I feel like I've got polar opposites here.
Since you read what the title of this panel is, which I probably should have looked at before agreeing to be on it, I actually am lucky enough to have a job where other people can be perfectionists for me.
Mm.
By the very, I know that sounds, yeah, dig me. I have people who can edit. No, the very nature of our podcast has always been the improvisational angle of it. And I don't think anybody has ever done a perfect improvisation. But that has been the fluidity of what we do and the flexibility of what we do. It is the kind of the charm of the Adventure Zone. And so I think, now that doesn't mean we don't critique what we do afterwards. It doesn't mean that we don't talk about it and how things went. We do live shows. There's very little editing you can do on a live show. And afterwards, we always have a little postmortem to figure out how we can do better. But for me, I'm just not wired that way. This is a flaw in my personality, by the way. I'm not bragging about this. I am not a big believer in regrets. I think you take the best data that you have the best input that you have, and do the best job you can with it. If you fail, then you analyze what failed, and then maybe but for me, my late wife Leslie had a saying, and it was so important that Travis, the saying is, all you can do is all you can do. Now that sounds really simple, but if you get into that, you're going to be up all night thinking about it. But it meant so much to our family that Travis went and found a handwritten cookbook his mother had written before she passed away and had it tattooed on his arm. That all you can do is all you can do. Now that's not a justification for not being a perfectionist, but I wish I was more that way. Matter of fact, if you want to hang later,
You could learn from each other.
I could learn to be more chill, and you could be learn to be a little more uptight.
Yeah, but I probably. What do you mean by that?
Oh, anyway.
Actually,
Okay.
Tyra, before we move on to
Wade.
Wade and
Get out of my head.
I have a question. How many ADHDers are in the room? How many of you love a good deadline?
Oh my God, I love a deadline. Who loves a
Yeah,
deadline? I had a feeling you didn't love a deadline.
Don't you find that a deadline helps you beat the perfection trap because you know you have to get it out, and it gets to the point where you're like, okay, this will have to do.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that kills my perfectionism.
We're living in stress over here.
Yeah, so going off of that, how many artists are illustrators or people that like to draw or anything like that works into their perfectionism? Because that's where I came from.
Yeah.
And I can really get on board with that deadline situation because one of the things I've done just to kind of help get over that, because I'm also detail oriented and I'm trying to wean myself off of that. At least for the needs that I need to have for the project. If I want to do it on my own time, that's fine. I can always come back to that. So one of the things I like to do, or at least I built in little systems that sort of help.
Ooh.
Like if I'm really bad at Instagram, I have my little thing there you can follow and all of that. But I don't post a lot. I just don't because I'm like, it's not good enough. It's not, whatever. So one of the systems I built in for that, it works for me, and may not work for others, is I will take a picture of a drawing, like if I'm doing something digitally, I will take a picture with my phone at whatever stage it's at, and I'll say, well, it's just a picture of it, it's not the actual thing. So I've built that in my head, like it's good enough for a post maybe, or a story or something, I'm not sure. But that's one of the things that kind of keeps me separated from like, the detail work and just going into it forever. The other thing with the live streaming is I used to not do warm-ups on stream. I would just start drawing. But now I know since the stream has to keep going, there's already like a built-in deadline. As soon as I get something I need out of the drawing, like, oh, the structure of the face is fine, it'll work, it's okay, I know what it is, I move on to the next one. And that's what plays into the show Roller Troll, which I do, where I give all the options. The chat votes on our options, and I have a deadline to finish those things as we go. So it's already built in. I just have to get the work done while I'm chatting and talking and all of the stuff. But little things like that, I found like just tweaking day-to-day tasks and stuff that get me over the perfectionism part of it has really helped a lot. Do you have anything you want to add to the conversation?
Since everybody's asking questions, just out of curiosity, how many people have been diagnosed with anxiety and depression? Whoa, I have found my family. Yeah, that also has a lot to deal with the whole not being perfect thing, because a lot of my stuff, I just feel like it's not good, period. A lot of ways that I've learned how to deal with are still very much in progress. This is probably the most public I've ever been about it, but I do have a handful of friends who know. And when they know I have something big coming up, like, say, a panel at Dragon Con, they might try to start checking in and be like, hey, have you done such and such? Hey, how are things going? So that's really worked out a lot. My wife knows, and my wife will actually try to take some stuff off of my plate, which is good. Anything that involves design, I'm admittedly not good at. The only time you've ever seen me in an outfit that you would say, wow, that outfit, Channing, it looks nice. Either my wife or when I was in college, one of my female friends put it together for me. I'm not good at putting colors and matching patterns or anything. So I've learned when I have to design flyers or art to swallow my pride and ask for help. But yeah, a lot of it is just, in my case, medication and therapy, and just seeing the look on people's faces when I do submit something that I'm like, okay, this is gonna be crap, and they're like, oh, this is great, this is just what we needed. So that little bit of a rush, it just kind of gets me over it. But yeah, dealing with it and going up to it, I wish my wife was here because she's had to talk me up from many a ledge over the years. And I'll say this real quick: the Black Geeks of Dragon Con shoot that I did, we started it in 2015. We had maybe 30 people there. Last year we had about 320, 325. We covered up the backstage. And I'm ashamed to say this, but it's 100% true. If I went back in time now to 2015 Channing and said, hey, when you start this group, this is what it's going to become, 2015 Channing would have said, hell no, I'm not doing that. Because there's no way it would be good enough. He would not believe it. So there's always that little voice in the back of your head. And I think you just kind of have to learn. Everybody says, tune it out, just tune it out. That's like telling somebody who's depressed to just get over it. You can't just tune it out. But you kind of have to learn to accept it and work with it and learn to listen to the louder voices.
And Channing, just to interject, I mean, you know, no one goes into something naturally as a CEO, right? So you go in and you build a business and you get to a point where you're comfortable with how big it's become. And that's what that Black Geeks thing has become for you. You started with a small group, and as it's expanded, you've got increasingly comfortable with dealing with something of that size. That's incredible. I love that for you.
It's been a labor of love.
And it's important. I mean, it's really important.
It's my favorite thing. So I knew two of these gentlemen a little bit more than I knew the other two gentlemen. And so Channing, I actually asked to be on here because of his story, because he would come to podcasting panels and he would moderate, and then we'd look at him and go, Channing, when are you putting out your podcast? And Channing would deflect us until we like pinned him in a corner and made him do something. But so one of my questions is, how many of us have imposter syndrome as well sometimes? And I think for me, that's what plays into my problems with perfectionism, is that I also don't think that what I'll do is good enough. So I'm wondering if any of you have any times where imposter syndrome stopped you, or a time when you put out something that wasn't perfect and people loved it. I don't know if I should start with you or not, but let's go.
Yes.
What? You put out something imperfect?
No, it was more imposter syndrome. So we... Yes. I haven't put that one out yet, though. I could still re-record my vocal track for that. Probably not. It's going out in a week. But earlier this year, I was going through a bad place in my job. I went through a job transition, went back to a company I used to work for, much happier now. However, that meant I got behind on editing an episode that I was doing myself. And I could have said, yep, that's good enough, and put it out on schedule. And kept the schedule we had, aside from a break when one of our co-hosts died. I think that's fair enough. But I could have kept the schedule we had since 2019. And instead I delayed it a week because I wasn't happy with the product I would have been putting out.
But I think a week is reasonable. It's when a week turns into 2 weeks, this might be me I'm talking about here, a month, 6 months, maybe even a year. Let me go crawl underneath this table now. Because I don't.
You, Tyra? Surely not.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Because I hate editing. Does anybody love editing? No. Somebody needs to raise their hand. Oh, thank you.
We have one.
Can I make you cookies and you do my editing? Because it stops me.
Are you Georgia based? Because we all will give you a lot of cookies.
Doesn't want cookies. We're doomed.
Or alcohol. I mean, to pick your poison.
Not 10 yet.
We could.
Yeah.
We're curse adjacent.
Alcohol
Oh, I
isn't a
like
cuss
that.
word.
So I do have a spin on this for you, because
Okay.
I love the fact
Being an imperfectionist.
Which I'm hoping
Did I say that right? Oh,
I need you to sit closer because I need this. You do these debriefs, and I think that's awesome. So so once you do those, how do you make sure that that gets incorporated to make the next show better?
oh, I hate them.
Okay,
I don't make change.
Do you make your sons make changes?
No, they don't make. Are you kidding?
Oh, apple and tree.
Let me tell you. Here's where I come from a performing background. When I was a kid, a lot of stage, a lot of theater-based stuff, and have continued on with it. It gives you a lot of confidence in dealing with other people, dealing with a lot of things, actually. But when we started doing the Adventure Zone, I had never played D&D before. Never.
Wow.
Played. Which, if you ever heard those first episodes, you know for a fact that I had never played spell slots. What? And so I was a terrible D&D player. And my children would tell you I still am. And yet, I have people who will hire me to come to DM sessions at D&D in a castle. Or we're doing something back here in Atlanta with some other folks. So I get all these gigs of running D&D games when that is where the imposter syndrome, where I have felt imposter syndrome. Now all those gigs are going to get cut off because you guys are, oh God, we're streaming this.
Yeah, you can imagine how he feels about that.
But the way you combat it is to find something that reflects in your life that you do have confidence in, that you do. And that's what leads back to my stage stuff. I think if you have the confidence to get up in front of people and just bare your soul and other things, because I say that because I once played Frank in Andy Get Your Gun
Oh my.
and walked out on stage with my fly open.
Was that the gun?
Hey.
Maybe,
Oh.
see, quick bang, okay. But I think if you have
Oh my.
do something else, and that's why I think a lot of improv, a lot of D&D, of course, is theater. I mean, you're making things up as you go along, and I think if you can find a correlation of something that you do have confidence in, that you could translate into that. And I swear to God, if you people tell the D&D in a castle people about this, never speak to you again.
That looks like an awesome event. I'm just saying.
I hope.
Where's
But I've
the
done it 6 or 7 times, and now I kind of know.
So now you got confidence about it.
where's the castle?
It's just outside of Newcastle.
Oh, okay.
It's
It's an actual English castle. That's awesome.
in actual England,
We can go. Yes.
Ooh.
with serving English breakfast.
We need to talk because we're definitely going to come along to that at some point.
Okay, plans later.
Sorry.
To tie in what you
ADHD,
were saying,
derailing the conversation.
You were coming at it from an acting history, and it sort of feels that we're talking about imposter syndrome a little bit, and I think it's one of those things, and I feel like if you lean into what you know, things you've done before, you like wherever you are, whatever you're doing, if you just settle into, I know how to do this because I've done it. For me, it's drawing. I've done it 100 times. I've done it 1,000 times. If you know it, then just lean into that when you start to get into whatever it is you're feeling like. I can't do this. Yes, you absolutely can because you've done it before. You've been here before. It's that confidence you were talking about. It's, just realizing if you're in a room with people, like you're hired for a job or something, and there's a reason you're in the room. Usually there's a reason you're there. Just lean into what you know. That's how I kind of get over those type of situations. You have anything along those lines?
This is great. It's like a newscast. Like, over to you, Channing.
And over to you, Jen.
Well, we're going to toss it to the audience next, so get ready to have questions.
So in reference to the earlier questions, do you have imposter syndrome and what have you done? What has imposter syndrome caused you to do? I quit a job without having another job lined up still ranks easily in the top 3 of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life. But yeah, I was like, I don't belong here. I'm just drawing a check. These other people, they're way up here. I'm holding the team back, and I'm a web developer, so it's not like you're building nuclear bombs or anything. But in my mind, like, no, I'm the lowly on the totem. Didn't not have another job lined up, and just said, okay, I'm out. I can't do it anymore. Yeah, don't advise doing that ever. Breaking things up in small chunks.
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. But what really helps, and especially for people in a digital media space, you're not perfect. But that means as you grow, your audience is going to see that growth and they're going to appreciate that. It's like when I talk about with technology, when you want to do a podcast or a stream, don't feel like you got to start with the high-end equipment first. Start out with the best you can afford. And then as you start building a user base and you get better, they're going to be like, oh, wow, Channing's got a new camera from what he had 6 months ago. Oh, look, Channing's got a non-USB mic. Channing's got actual lights now. And they're going to be like, oh, this is great. They're watching you grow. And so I think that really also helps.
I like the small chunks.
Yeah.
And it's interesting what you, what both Wade and Clint said. I teach for a living, so it's really improv. By the way, don't ever let a teacher tell you it's not anything else but improv most days. At least for me. There are people that have scripts. I can't do scripts. But I do think of that when I step into a panel and I'm like, oh crap, I got to moderate this thing and I don't know what to do. And I'm like, okay, look, you've taught college students that are freshmen and seniors and they haven't run screaming from the ring. They have fallen asleep though, and that's not a big confidence builder, but somebody
that's normal.
they're hungover. So that's what I'm going to tell myself at least. But somebody had an audience participation thing, so I'm letting him.
So this kind of riffs off of Channing's mention of breaking things up in small chunks. So again, those who are ADHD or generally neurodivergent, please raise your hand. How many of you have some sort of project management skills? I.e., you actually kind of do this for a living or have done it as a hobby because it's how your brain works.
No, it's true.
And yeah, so I think that's very common in neurodivergence. I think it helps those of us who are perfectionists because you have to figure that out. So the fact that Channing touched on that, I thought was really important. And I was very curious to see who else does things that way, because for a lot of us, it's the only way to actually get stuff done.
And then there's deadlines, and all of us in this room like a deadline.
We do. That's part of a good project plan is a deadline.
Yes.
As my former employees would say, exactly what, by exactly who, by exactly when.
That's very structured.
Yeah, those were my former employers. Yes.
Okay. Well, good point. He left there. So there's nobody standing at that microphone yet. Do none of you have questions?
Hey.
Do we have an online question? Ooh. Okay, now look, people in the room. The stream is beating you right now. Okay.
Now, any of these online questions, do they involve us showing our feet?
Channing, it is not 10 o'clock.
Well, feet are not adult, but we do have an extra fee for that.
The spicy side of digital media is later this weekend. Please look at the screen to find out when.
Okay, so King's Nate got a question. Is it easier to be less a perfectionist with something you know you're bad at?
I can't think of anything right off.
But were you really bad at it?
There's a lot of stuff I'm bad at. Okay, my wife knows all about cars, flipping the, oh yeah, you got to do the dingle dong and you got to put the shmamuka over on this.
Love a good shmamuka.
I know nothing about that. I know everything about fantasy football, but I can't cook to save my life. I can raise kids.
That's
Not to be perfectionist.
You've just saved up a lot of misery. It's good.
I think it would be really tough to be a perfectionist and not have to temper that if you're raising kids, because
Mhm.
they are agents of chaos. Are they here? They're not here.
No, you're safe. We shipped them someplace else.
I don't want to distract it or anything. Are any of you media? I almost said media urologists. Meteorologists. Okay.
So you're safe.
So back there, airflow is not going to work with a closed door on that side. Is
Oh.
it? Okay. Maybe we can open that door. Maybe we can open that door.
We keep hoping. Oh, there, Elaine, thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.
Crack it just a little bit.
For those of you listening online who aren't in the room, it is hot.
It's sweltering.
This is Sauna Galleria 6. Welcome to the Digital
I-
Media Track.
I would love to know why next door is actually very cold.
I hate them. Okay. So does anybody else have, I think it's easier to be bad at something. Like if I know that I suck at it, like I want to learn how to watercolor and I'm not worried about being a perfectionist because I already know I can't do it. Now, if it ends up I can't do it, I'm doomed because then I'll want to do better.
If I'm bad at it, I will actively avoid incorporating it into whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, if I'm not any good at something I'm starting for the first time, there is that like urge to like, oh, maybe this is not for me. But I usually tend towards the other way and just say, let me iterate a little bit more and see if I can get better at it. But I don't have as much, I don't feel like I have to be as perfect with something I'm just starting with. There's no real like, oh, if it's my first go, I'm expecting it to be perfect.
Right.
But if I start reflecting, I'm like, I might then try to make it perfect.
I'll be quick. Remember I said I'm not good at doing art and design. One of my first jobs was at a newspaper in their online department. And a lot of times when you have breaking news and you need art, you don't have time for your graphic designer to put. So if I go back in the Internet Archive and look at some of our old breaking news pages, I will see some very quick and dirty art I did that looks like it came out of MS Paint.
But you get better at that because that banner over there was done in 3 minutes.
Newspapers.
Yeah.
What are those?
It's a lifetime.
And phones had dials on it. Did you guys know this?
Mm.
All right, and then the next question was from One Thick Diva.
One thick
Question for
diva.
Channing. When is the next episode of Smarty Art Brothers?
Whoever you are, I love you.
Whoever you are, I will find you. I will say this, because of this track, it took me a while to start doing the Smarty Art Brother. It took me literally years. Charles got sick of seeing me come here and learn about podcasts. And I finally did about 2 years ago, and I got about 8 to 10 episodes in, and life got in the way. But that's actually an improvement for me because for years I did not do it because I was afraid. I just didn't want to do it. Now I'm not doing it because I have a wife, I have a kid who just got out of college, I have a full-time job, I have a dog who acts like a toddler. So when life gets out of the way, there will be more episodes coming, I promise you. But for right now, Smarty Art Brother, there's like 8 or 9 good episodes that I highly recommend. Not perfect, but good.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. So my question is, I think probably a lot of us here, it wasn't asked, but hello? Okay.
Yep, yeah, you're good.
Probably a lot of us here also have OCD,
Mhm.
obsessive compulsive. And one of the things that comes with that is getting really in your head, and especially it being hard to break out of thought cycles, which also comes with the depression, is getting in your head. And you can talk about strategies, and I've gone to so many things where it's like, oh, I've got such good strategies to apply, and then in the moment, you're in your head, and you can't think of anything. So do any of you have suggestions for how, when you're in that moment of being really perfectionist and like, I've got to just keep drilling at this, keep banging my head against the wall, how to break out of that cycle, like at the time?
That is good. Anybody have anything before I put my foot in my mouth?
No, I'd like to see that actually.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm 57 and that life has not been that way anymore.
You need to do more yoga.
I would break myself. So for me, what I have done is I do a lot of collaborations. because that means I have a partner who can talk me off the ledge, like Channing's wife does. Shane talks me off the ledge. But by being responsible for somebody else, that's the only way I ever get things done. So like I've published 2 books, but they're both co-authored. I have a couple of podcasts. The ones that have had more than 10 episodes are the ones that I do with somebody else. So find a creative partner that can support you in that and be kind of like, I don't want to let them down. And sometimes that will get me out of my headspace of having to not do stuff. So like you guys are seeing slides right over here. Yeah, those were made this afternoon because I did OCD, ADHD, wait as long as I possibly could to do them. And so this afternoon, I'm like, I got to do those because people are depending on them. So for me, that's what works.
And I think just even beyond a creative partner, having people in your life that you can talk to and they can get you out of that spin. She's one of them. Actually, Shane, rely on Tyra's husband, is another one who I talk to who's like,
I heard him out.
dude, you've got to get out of your head. And that's not just in the creative cycle, but also in other things. I mean, I tend to do that a lot at work. I tend to do that a lot outside of work just because not diagnosed, but there are signs. So just having people who are like, okay, you're spiraling. Stop. This is what you need to do. That's so helpful to me. Whether that doesn't have to be a creative partner, it can be a trusted friend, any form of trusted advisor, really.
Yeah, and I would just like to say our Discord, you're going to see a link that says Digital Media Track. Everybody's super supportive there. So if you get in a space and you need somebody to talk to you, more than likely there's somebody with a little green light that's going to be able to be there to at least give you, like, you can do it. So, yay. I'm so proud there are people in line to ask questions. We love this.
Okay, so I had I'm going to give a little context first. So I had the editor behind Blades in the Dark and Monster Week lined up to be the developmental edit on one of my games. He just vanished like 2 days after I gave him the document. So how do you guys like handle these kinds of like weird procedural setbacks in your own creative works?
So who's had somebody ghost them after they were supposed to help them finish a project or they hired them for something? Oh,
Well, I mean, I've had people ghost me on job interviews. I've had people ghost me on projects. There's always those people who say, "Oh, I'll help. I'll be happy to help. Yeah, let me help. Just let me know I need the help." Then when it comes time to help, you don't see them. And this is gonna sound mean, and it's not meant to be. But you learn how to pick people better. Sadly, there are always gonna be some unreliable people out there. I hope you have a contract with this person or something so you can.
Thankfully, I've not paid an invoice yet.
Oh, thank God.
And I thankfully have been saved by Reddit. Somebody has a very large network of editors, and so I was able to find a different editor with similar credentials.
Yeah. And it's kind of like Tyrus, when you find a good online community and you share a story like that, there are other people who have gone through the same thing and can say, like you said, hey, here's a list of trustworthy editors, people that I've worked with. But yeah, you learn over time how to spot the fake ones. I wish I could give you something more specific, but that's what always worked for me.
I like that. I think community. You did right by falling back on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, good evening, and thank you so much for having this panel. So contextually, Wade, much like yourself, I'm also an illustrator, but I was one of the few people that raised my hand in that I enjoy editing. I'm a former art director and have worked in the design, art education, creative thinking and design thinking sphere. I have this crazy kind of psychotic career, much like I'm sure some of you in this room. But my primary question is, how do you deal with criticism? Because speaking of people with ADHD, much like myself, criticism is something we can be very sensitive to, and constructive criticism that you need to hear, and unconstructive criticism, which is just somebody maybe being a bit of a jerk, can somehow feel the same. So as perfectionists, so I'm sorry for Daddy Mac, maybe this doesn't apply to you,
But help us get through it.
but help us.
But Bizarro me.
I know. Maybe you're the best person to answer this question. How do you deal with it, and how do you separate criticism from constructive versus unconstructive for yourself?
We do not live in good times if you're too sensitive.
Mhm.
These are not good times because you have an entire population that thinks because they are typing it into a computer or typing it on a phone that there are no repercussions, that there's no blowback, there is nothing, So people, I have found a lot of people criticize just because they get more attention for being critical, and they may not even really feel that way. I think what you have to do is make sure that you actually know the person whose criticism you are heeding, and enough that you respect them as a creator or artist or whatever is the context for what you're doing, and tell the rest of the people to go to hell. Oh, heck.
No,
go to
hell is fine. Hell is
Hell's
fine.
fine?
Hell is fine. Hell is a place. So we're okay with that.
Yeah, I find that if it's not applicable, if there's not something you can take away, if it's a stranger, just, pop shots in the dark, like whatever, and there's not something you find from it, don't pay attention to it. Move on. Especially if it's like criticism, like you provided a product to someone, like obviously you're going to listen to that. Again, though, if it's not applicable, ask them directly, what would you like for this to be now? I've done this. What do I need to change to fit what you need? And then just very stoically just take it, try to be emotionless with that part of it. After the job's done, you can rant, rave, do whatever you want. But when you get the job done, it's all good for everybody.
I think from my perspective, it depends on the nature of the criticism, right? So if someone emails us and says, the sound on that episode was terrible, I can go back and be like, actually, yes, one of our co-hosts was having some issues, and yes, that was terrible. When someone makes it unnecessarily personal, that rubs me up the wrong way. We had an iTunes or an Apple podcast review that was unnecessarily harsh, and I don't know, this was so petty, but the person referred to me as the English kid. And all I was thinking when I read that was, my brother in Christ, I'm 37. Like, but for some reason, that really offended me. But someone can come on and be really horrific about our production. I'm like, yep. Someone can be like, I completely disagree with everything you said in that episode. I'm like, yes, that's an opinion. I'm fine with that.
That's a good.
But when it gets personal, I'm like, oh, yeah, no, that upsets me.
Well, and I think it's the biggest problem with digital media is there's trolls.
Mhm.
So I am not a traditional looking beautiful woman. I am a big girl, and I have resisted. As a matter of fact, my other panel is about being on camera because I hate it and I loathe it and I just want to be behind a microphone. But for some reason, they think podcasters need to be in front of cameras. I do not understand this. But for me, that's been the hardest thing because I know.
I'm waving at the camera.
I know.
I
know. I know.
And you've been great.
Thanks, I love you. You can stay. Every panel, you're coming with me. I need your advice, obviously. But I think what you said is right about there's so many opinions in digital and everybody has one. And it is so hard for me to hit that, post button because I worry about what somebody's going to say because I know the cruelty of this moment in time is off the charts. And so a friend of mine who's been a writer, she's an international bestseller, and her husband is the one that looks at her reviews. She does not.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's something that's important, he'll tell her, but she does not read them. And so I agree with that.
Have you noticed how the number of critics in the world have diminished? I mean, people who are recognized as critics who do movie reviews.
Yes.
What do you get now? You get Rotten Tomatoes. So what is that? That's
That's
all
all.
these people expressing an opinion. That's not the same as a reviewer reviewing a movie. And I think, I used to critique comic books. I did that I will not tell you where to find it, but I used to review comic books. And at one point I said to myself, why? Because I've read a lot. And then I finally reached a point where no matter what this is something someone worked on, devoted their creative powers to, that blood, sweat, and tears went into this. I have absolutely no right to tell other people what they are going to enjoy. And I should have realized this, I don't know, 50 years ago 40 years ago. I was going to Marshall University. I was a journalism student at Marshall University, go Herd. And they, the local movie critic for the Huntington Herald-Dispatch did a review of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And the first line of the review was, spoilers for all of you, if you've never seen the movie, plug your ears. The first line of his review was, Spock dies. And the reason he wrote that was because he said, I hated this movie so much that I'm going to spoil it for you so you don't go see it. This is why critics disappeared off the face of the earth.
That was cruel before the internet, obviously.
But he came back, so he was okay. It was okay. He got over it.
We love Spock for that. Thank you so
He got
much.
better.
Hi.
Hello. So basically, I had to write everything down because like I'm bad with like speaking
Okay.
within like a large group of people. I had to write stuff down, and I also like contextual wise, I just recently graduated from art school. But the thing is, congratulations. Within the last month or so, I haven't been able to draw anything. I picked up a pen and I kind of just tossed my notebook off the table. Because one of the things that I kind of did within my final year of art school was just to, I had this OCD thing. My professors and a few of my close friends kind of keep saying that I know they're trying to help me, but they keep saying that my stuff is flat and my character feels stiff and my background feels flat. So I try to focus my studies on perspective, on gesture drawing, stuff like that. But I did it to the point that I went crazy and the definition of insanity is basically you do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. But for some reason, after I do all those exercises, my characters and my background still feel stiff, and I've been not able to, and it led me to a burnout, which lasts up to this day. And I would like to ask, how do you ease yourself back to the process of enjoying something that something creative? Because I feel art school. I mean, I had great professors, but just after the entire experience, I just feel
Do you? I'm serious. I mean, do you have great professors? Because a professor who criticizes without giving techniques on how to improve the criticism is not a good professor.
I mean, they did kind of say that I should really do more gesture drawings, which I sort of did, but I don't feel I kind of
Yeah, I feel like the burnout part of this is probably because you are trying so hard to get through that wall, and I've been there. I've definitely been there multiple times. And do you keep a sketchbook?
Not on me right now.
Right, but just in general, do you have a sketchbook or something?
Yeah.
This is again another technique. It may not work. I have no real solutions, but things that I have done in the past is keeping a sketchbook that nobody else ever sees. There's no reason anybody will see it. I can make the worst drawings ever, and I know that no one will see it. No one will think I can't draw hands. I can't do whatever the case might be. That's definitely a good way to kind of ease off the oh, no one will see this. I'm not going to make any mistakes. No professors are going to see this that will critique me, or no, it's just for me. And as far as the burnout thing, for me, and this is again, I've gone through several times. For me, it's just stop doing the things I'm trying to do. If let's say I'm trying to get better at, let's say drawing hands, for instance. I'm trying to get better at drawing hands. I will stop drawing hands. I will take a break. I will walk away from that. I will go draw faces for, 2 or 3 weeks. Now, obviously, if I have a deadline for something, I have things I have to work through. But if I'm trying to improve something, I think taking a break from it is really good. It is for me anyway. But then when I get back to it, going back into that sketchbook nobody's going to see, staying as loose as possible, and then even just blocking out shapes. This is more of a drawing specific thing, but just blocking out shapes and not getting any detail. That to me is a good way to kind of work through that burnout. And just not focusing, I know it sounds weird, but not focusing on if I was drawing hands, not focusing on hands themselves, but like other things, and coming back into it with maybe a little bit of fresh eyes, and maybe find other people to ask after you've gotten to a point where you like sort of where you're going with it. It doesn't, if you have any like friends from art school or whatever, ask them about it. You don't necessarily have to just ask the professors or that sort of thing. I know it's tough. I wish I had better answers for that. But for me, it's also iterative, like just keep drawing, but that's what they've already given, the advice they've already given you. But sometimes walking away for a while and coming back to it with fresh eyes is probably the best medicine for that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
I just want to say when the next person pops up that one thing that's worked for me is you can do anything for 3 minutes. So do it for 3 minutes, and then suddenly you found out you did it for 30. But you only are committing to 3 minutes. And then you can say, okay, I'm fine, and let's walk on. That's a chord.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm really glad that Clint came out of the closet as a critic because now I feel more comfortable talking about this. But
Why? I didn't review something you created, did I?
no, I'm also a critic.
Ah,
But one of the worst things that I'd ever done to myself as a child was get really into classic literature because it made me feel like a critic and it made me think like a critic. And because I think like a critic on other people's things, I am even harder on my own stuff. And I struggle not only figuring out how to stop the critic inside of me from myself, I also want to stop being so critical of others because I feel like that's the root of my problem.
And that's such a hard cycle to break. So I had a very classical British education, lots of classic literature, classical civilization, Homer, Aeschylus, etc. And when you've been trained in analyzing that stuff, literally through your entire childhood, it's so hard to it's so hard to break away from those habits and that training. And the only thing you can really do is try and catch yourself and just go, okay, I know I'm doing this. I need to back off a little. And it's so hard. I still do it so much, whether it's movies I'm watching, TV shows, other podcasts. I'm sitting there with the critical eye.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not professionally working as a critic, I'm just analyzing it and understanding it. And I feel like the worst sometimes.
I don't think it's just classical literature. I think, I mean, I don't know about you, but, if I read a Stephen King novel, honest to God, I say, I could never do that. Where does he, how do you, and you can analyze, you can look at what, the people do. I have the backward effect in movies. The worse a movie is, the more confident I am that, well, maybe I could make a movie.
I hear they're doing another Sharknado.
No, get out of here.
Sequel to The Room.
You see, bad is sometimes good.
I mean, if it inspires you, yeah. I mean, I have favorite authors that I read because there's no way I'm as good a writer as they are. Because I think once you find out about an art form and really analyze an art form, and you kind of look behind the curtain like I have a comic book collection of over 75,000 comic books dating back to when I was 10 years old, 20 years ago. And
And those sons are 10.
the joy of reading comic books, and I read one now, and I mean, but now I know how they make the sausage, and I know about the meetings, and I know about the editors, and I don't read nearly as many comic books as I used to, and if I do, it's stuff from the 60s and 70s.
It's so hard. We have 5 minutes left. So I want to get to the gentleman behind you real fast. And Channing, you don't know this, but
Did we help you at all, by the way? Did we help?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
So the thing I would say is think about how the person feels, because I'm one of those feeler people.
You probably don't want to get to me because my real question is digital versus media, but I'm an ADHD, like the oldest in the room, 65. Who's over 65?
Not even close.
So there
With
you go,
exception of
sir.
one, I'm the ADHD guy, but that didn't exist when I was born in 1960. So I'm the weird guy in the room. I'm a mechanical engineer.
Oh, my dad was an
So
MBA.
how good is good enough? I can't use the F word because it's not 10 o'clock yet, but I can tell you because I do heat transfer, this is not good enough.
No.
You blow air into the room at a certain temperature, all the humans are giving off 245 BTUs of sensible heat, 205 BTUs of latent heat, and you got to do enough. So it's not good enough.
Where
So,
were you
like, I know-
36 minutes ago? Airflow.
But then I
I'm saying
couldn't
in my
hear.
world, it's very easy to know where you're not good enough. The room is
Oh,
hot.
that's right.
The
I
lights
see
are
what you're
not
doing.
good.
Yeah.
Somebody gets electrocuted. The
Yeah.
building falls down and people die. It's
Oh God, what panel was that?
That was the nuclear bomb panel that they canceled.
But I'm
Apocalypse
saying,
track.
so I know when I'm not good enough because it's very
So-
obvious and things go south. So with that aside, sorry for all the rambling. My real question is like digital would be kind of whatever. My world used to be analog. We were artists. We drew things. We put it on vellum. We put it on ink. We created this image, and then people use these images and they built things. I mean, it goes back to the pyramids. So that was the artist part. My daughter is an English teacher. My mom's an English teacher. My brother's a teacher. I mean, we're all teachers. I'm the black sheep that was an engineer. So like engineering was artistry, and then stuff came of it, right? So that was, I consider myself an artist,
Right.
And so that's kind of the digital or ones and zeros, whatever. And then there's media. Media was like analog, kind of sort of like you made stuff. So there's this whole divide, right? It's like, oh God, these scientist people, they're too damn smart and they just intimidate me. So there's like this digital or like science is, and then art is, yeah. And so it's like they're here and they're there. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Like my art is done with a laser or maybe a CNC or whatever. But I'm like,
Okay, where's the
so
question?
where
We gotta get
is
there.
where is there art and is there science, or is it all one big continuum and we've artificially split it into two things as we present it as films or paintings or movies or buildings? Like is art and science in
Gotcha.
opposition to one another?
Okay, so Jenny, you got 15 seconds. Everybody's got 15 seconds. Go for it, because I want everybody to be able to find you after this. So go.
Short answer is no, they are not separate. Some people in their own heads have separated them, but they go hand in hand. One feeds the other. Kind of like with AI, I always say, I don't blame the tool, I blame how people use the tool. And it's kind of the same with art and science.
Yeah, feeling that same thing, but I like what you said. Science was art was yeah. They all go together. I kind of agree.
Clap, clap.
Big Daddy Mac.
I think the difference between the words digital and media is just basically the transmission system. I think that however it gets out there, I've tried to tell my sons this all the time. I worked in radio for 47 years. It's the same business as podcasting. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. It's the voice coming out of something that people are listening to and using their imagination.
100%.
I think asking the question about the difference between art and science is really interesting, because I think as we have continued to improve knowledge as a species, we've become increasingly siloed. So artists aren't scientists anymore. Scientists aren't artists. You look at someone like Leonardo da Vinci 500 years ago, And yes, he was a phenomenal artist, and he was coming up for designs for what was effectively a helicopter. We don't have that anymore.
And I'm just gonna say, my sister is a digital artist, and I would never. She doesn't think she's an artist because she's drawing it on an iPad and she's using programs. She doesn't use AI, but she draws it freehand. But she doesn't think she's an artist, and I yell at her that she is. So that's my answer to her too. So we're gonna take this. Channing, you're gonna go first. Tell everybody who you are. Everybody knows this is Channing, but tell them where to find you and what you're most proud of that you let go into the universe for people to hear.
So you can find me online. I'm just Channing Sherman, first name, last name, on Blue Sky, on Instagram, on TikTok, but you will never see me doing dances there.
Sing it, brother.
Yeah, obviously the proudest thing I've done is on the Smarty Art Brother podcast, which I really want to bring back. But again, there's like 8 to 10 great episodes up there now. I highly recommend Urban Legends in the Black community, which is informative and hilarious.
Awesome.
At Wade Aka on Instagram, if you want to follow. I have a show called Roll or Troll, where if you show up, it's on Twitch. If you all show up, you can all participate. I draw things based on what you guys vote on. That's it.
McElroy.family is where you can find all of our stuff. And I think the thing I'm proudest of is going to be coming up in about 10 months when the 7th volume of our graphic novel series, final one, is released.
That's exciting.
And so, yeah, I just saw the galleys of it last night and cried like a baby.
Aww.
No, I didn't.
I would, so.
So once again, I'm Anthony Williams. I am on the Watchers in the Fourth Dimension podcast, where we are watching our way through all of Doctor Who from 1963 until wherever the show is when we catch up. Who knows? You can find us on anywhere you like to get your podcasts. I have a QR code here on my badge if anyone wants to scan it. You can go straight to our link tree. Someone very beautiful designed that for me. And also we're on Facebook and Instagram at Watchers4D, and we're talking about a TikTok, but we haven't got there yet.
Oh my gosh. And 12:30 live on Saturday.
Oh yeah, we have a live panel on Saturday at 11:30.
And I'm now 2 minutes over, but who cares? My name is Tyra Burton. I do the social media for the digital media track, and I can see how better I've gotten. The thing I'm most proud of is Be Awesome Together, which I do with Charles. Come be awesome with us in our imperfections. Thank you for coming out on Thursday night. And yay to our volunteers who did not keep me on time. And it's all my fault.
This
They
would be
tried,
the perfect
Tyra.
panel, but we're okay with that.